MAVAKAGA.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive on something that might make you rethink your next Costco run.
Oh, this is an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of our listeners shop at Costco, so this should be relevant. We're looking at an article from MAVAKAGA.com, and it's about, well, get this, a potential class action lawsuit against Costco Canada.
A class action. Those can be pretty big. What's the gist of it?
Basically, a group of people, they're saying Costco Canada was, charging different prices for the same items online versus in the actual stores. And it wasn't just like a few cents. We're talking noticeable differences here.
Interesting. That doesn't sound good. I mean, Costco's known for their value. Is it like a bait and switch kind of thing?
Kind of, yeah. Like, imagine you're browsing online, see a blender you've been wanting. It's listed at, let's say, $84.99. Sounds like a Costco deal, right?
Yeah, totally. You'd assume that's a good price.
Exactly. But then you go to the actual warehouse, and bam, the same blender is sitting there for $79.99.
Oh, wow. That's not cool. A $5 difference, especially on something pricier, that adds up. And I bet a lot of people just don't even think to check.
Right. The lawsuit's claiming that Costco didn't, clearly inform shoppers about these price differences.
I mean, even if there's no separate shipping fee, if the online price is just jacked up, it's still misleading, right?
Exactly. It's like sneaky almost.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just blenders either. The article mentions wool socks, a vacuum sealer, even food storage containers, all with these weird price gaps.
So what can people do if they think they might have been, overcharged?
Good question. There's actually a website set up for the lawsuit where shoppers can register and provide details about their purchases. You'll need your receipts, though. They're pretty key in this.
Yeah, gotta have that proof. I'm assuming registering isn't mandatory to be part of the class action, but it probably helps the lawyers build a stronger case, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
The more people who register, the more it shows just how widespread this issue might be. And it's worth noting, Costco hasn't officially responded to any of this yet.
Interesting. They're probably still figuring out their strategy, I'd guess. But this whole thing raises some bigger questions, doesn't it? Like, how often does this kind of price discrepancy happen? And not just at Costco, I mean with other retailers too.
That's what we're going to dig into next time.
It's wild to think how much shopping has moved online. Even just a few years ago, I don't think this would have been such a big deal.
Yeah, you're totally right. We've kind of just gotten used to buying everything online and, assuming the price is the price,
Totally. But this whole Costco thing, it really makes you think about, consumer protection in the digital age. What if this lawsuit, forces companies to be more upfront about price differences between online and in-store? That'd be a huge shift.
It would be, for sure. But, isn't running an online store more expensive? I mean, websites, shipping, returns, all that stuff. Maybe that's why some things cost more online.
Oh, absolutely. There are definitely extra costs involved with online retail, but the key is transparency. If a retailer's got to adjust prices for their website, they got to be upfront with shoppers. Even a simple disclaimer on the product page would help,
Yeah, that makes total sense. And speaking of being upfront, this lawsuit, it was started by an actual Costco shopper, Ibrahim El-Bachara. He spotted the price difference on a blender and decided, hey, this isn't right.
It's pretty cool that he took action, not just for himself, but for all Canadian Costco shoppers, potentially. I mean, class action lawsuits, they can be a real pain, but they're a powerful way to hold corporations accountable.
They are. But how often do they actually, win?
Yeah.
And what could a win in this case mean for Costco or, even other retailers?
Winning a class action, it's tough, for sure. It can take forever with tons of legal back and forth. But if the people suing Costco can prove they were deliberately misleading shoppers, well, the consequences for Costco could be huge.
Huge how? What are we talking about?
Think big fines. Maybe they'd have to change how they do their pricing, even refunds to shoppers. And that's not even mentioning the hit to their reputation.
Oof, yeah, nobody wants that. And, it might make other retailers think twice about their own pricing too. But, some people might say, these price differences are small. Who cares?
True, some folks might not mind paying a bit more for the convenience of online shopping, but this is about fairness and transparency. If you're going to charge different prices, be upfront about it.
Exactly. Shoppers deserve to know what's up, and it shouldn't feel like a trick.
Right. It's about building trust. And once that trust is broken, it's hard to get it back. So whether Costco wins or loses this lawsuit, it's sparking a really important conversation about, our shopping habits, our rights, and how businesses treat us in this whole digital world.
So for our listeners, what's the takeaway here? What should we be doing differently?
Be an informed shopper. Do your research, compare prices, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Knowledge is power, right?
Love that. It's like that old saying, buyer beware, but for the 21st century.
Exactly. And there are, practical things you can do. Before you click buy now, take a second, check if that item's available in store, compare the prices. A little effort can save you money.
Good point. It reminds us that we have power as shoppers. But this case, it's bigger than just prices, right? It's about trust. Can we trust these companies to be honest with us?
100%. Trust is the foundation of any relationship, and that includes the one between a business and its customers.
Totally. And if a company messes that up, it can be really hard to win back that trust.
Absolutely. So how do we build that trust?
Yeah, how do we do that?
Well, companies need to be totally transparent with their prices and how they market things. No more shady tactics. And we as shoppers, we got to hold them accountable.
So if we see something fishy, we need to speak up.
Exactly. Whether it's contacting the company, reporting it to a consumer watchdog, or even supporting cases like this Costco one, our actions, they matter.
This isn't just about a few bucks here and there. It's about setting a standard for businesses in this whole online world.
You got it. It's about making things fair and transparent for everyone.
But let's be real. Companies are always going to try to make as much money as possible.
True, but I really think profit and doing the right thing, they can go together. Companies can be successful and indeed treat their customers fairly.
And that brings us to the heart of this whole deep dive, right? It's not just about Costco. It's about what kind of shopping experience we want.
Exactly. That's the question, isn't it? What do we want?
I think we all want something fair, right? Something transparent, something we can trust.
Absolutely. We want to feel good about where we spend our money and support companies that treat us right.
So we've covered a lot. This Costco lawsuit, double ticketing, and how important it is to be aware as shoppers. But there's one more piece to this puzzle.
Oh, yeah. The legal stuff.
Yeah.
We've touched on it, but to really get the full picture, we're going to dive into the nitty-gritty of class actions.
And that's what we're going to tackle next time, the legal side of things. So stick with us. Things are about to get interesting. Okay, so legal stuff, class action lawsuits, they always sound kind of complicated.
They can be, yeah. But the basic idea, it's actually pretty straightforward. So we've got Ibrahim Elbachara, right, the guy who started this whole thing. He's the lead plaintiff, which basically means he's representing everyone else who might have been, overcharged by Costco.
Gotcha. So it's like he's the team captain for all the Costco shoppers in Canada.
Exactly. And like any good lawsuit, there's a process. First up, the court has to certify the case. Basically, the judge looks at it and decides if there are enough, common issues among all the people involved to make it a class action.
So, it wouldn't make sense to have thousands of separate lawsuits about the same thing, right?
Right. Way too much of a mess. So if the case gets certified, then comes the fun part, discovery. Both sides, Costco and the people suing them, they got to gather evidence, talk to witnesses, build their case.
Sounds like it takes a while.
Oh, yeah, it can drag on for months, sometimes even years. But here's the thing. Most class actions, they never actually go to trial.
Really? Why not?
Well, usually the two sides, they end up working out a settlement. It's kind of like a compromise to avoid going to court and all that drama.
Makes sense. Saves everyone time and money, probably. So, what do you think? Will Costco settle in this case?
It's hard to say for sure, but a few things could make them want to settle. Like, how strong is the evidence against them? What are the chances they'll lose in court? And then there's their reputation, right? Costco might just decide, hey, let's make this go away, even if it means paying some money to the shoppers.
So what happens if they don't settle? If it actually goes to trial?
Well, then it's showtime. A judge or maybe a jury, they'll hear all the arguments, look at all the evidence, and then they'll decide. Did Costco break the law? If they did, then the court figures out the consequences. Could be fines, could be changes to how they do their pricing, maybe even rules saying they can't pull this kind of stuff again.
Wow. It's kind of crazy to think, this whole thing started with one guy noticing a price difference on a blender.
It is. And it just shows, consumers, we have power, we have rights. And if we feel like a company is doing something shady, we have options.
Yeah, totally. We can join a class action, report them to, a consumer protection group, or just take our business elsewhere. The choice is ours.
This whole thing, it's a good reminder that the world of shopping, it's changing. Online shopping is huge now, and we got to be smart about it. Know our rights, know what to look out for, and don't be afraid to speak up.
And I think that's a great note to wrap things up on.
Oh.
Be informed, be aware, and shop smart, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
MAVAKAGA.